God, I just listened to this whole podcast. It was terrible. I feel like my ears are gonna bleed.
What'd you say? This is Darby Allen, and you're listening to Gimme a Whole Yeah podcast.
Hello everyone, how we're doing? It's Dan from Gimme a Whole Yeah. We've got a bit of a different one today. It's not a live stream of a Monday Night Raw or a Dynamite. There's no premium live events on at the minute. Well, not until weekend anyway, which we'll get to later. We are going to have a little bit of a discussion with a friend that I met about probably 2 or 3 years ago in a pub watching wrestling. So always a great way to meet new people. Dan is the founder of a sort of little non-profit called Hot Tag Foundation. And to discuss more about that, I'm going to bring him in. So everyone, welcome, Dan. There you go. How are you doing?
Hi. Yeah, I'm great, thanks. Yeah, good to be, involved in Gimme a Whole Yeah again. I've enjoyed doing the podcast before, and I'm very excited to do it on a new basis under a new regime of, the Hot Tag Foundation and, speaking with you, which I've not done in properly since we met. I think it was Mania about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
was it Hayworth or was it Tribal?
I think we met at Hayworth. I could be wrong. All I remember is seeing your personalised license plate on the back of your car driveway at the end of the night. That's what really. But yeah, it was a great experience. Really, really good to meet you in person and stuff. It was like you said, meeting people in professional wrestling, the camaraderie on the whole thing is just really, really easy to get along with other people. So
definitely
beautiful. Really.
So, like I said, we're going to have a bit of a chat about your Hot Tag Foundation. What is it? How did it come about? And what is it doing at the moment?
Okay, start with the first question. What is it? So we are the Hot Tag Foundation, which is we describe it as a new innovative not-for-profit organisation set up in a community-centred environment around professional wrestling. Basically, to put a long story short, we want to give back to a community that's given us so much as young people and as adults. So in my experience, it's a way that has been able to develop me as an adult and develop me into the person I am now. It's all about the imagination, the creativity, the pageantry, the theatrics, everything that I've loved watching about professional wrestling. I feel like I can use it in my own life, and it's given me a lot of confidence. Earlier in a couple of months ago, early on in the Hot Tag Foundation, I was lucky enough to be invited into a Rise wrestling ring, and I was very, very uncomfortable getting in that ring. But when you talk about something that you're so passionate about, it felt easy to do at the time. And it was a really nice moment. Everyone listened, everyone applauded, everyone loved hearing what I wanted to say. It was beautiful. So going on to your second question, we are. I'll continue lead off the first question. So at the minute, we're going through a stage where we are in the middle of our Total Rumble donation drive, which will be hopefully an annual event where we can collect donations of toys, memorabilia, action figures, even non-wrestling items like fidget toys, stationery. We're collecting it all to be able to give the gift of wrestling this Christmas, and that's something that is very important to us as people. It's something that we've done before, or that I've done before at least. And some of our founding members have been able to do before as well. So very excited to get involved in that and get involved in the whole charitable organisation field. So moving on from that, the foundation came about it started a couple of years ago when I was doing a similar project with another group of guys, great guys. And then, we parted ways, unfortunately, through creative difference. From that, I got married to my beautiful wife, Laura, who's also our lead trustee and administrator, amazing person. And then I graduated my business degree early last year as well. So from that, I remember having my stag do at TNT in Liverpool, and it was at that moment it clicked. Me just watching some guy getting smashed over the head with a light tube, and I was like, I want to go back into doing something that combines my two passions in life, and that's giving back and professional wrestling. So it was a long process, took about 3 or 4 months to really get it all going. I'd had ideas in my head over the past couple of years, Like, and it was very important to me that it was marketed correctly and we had a solid foundation before we moved anywhere. So coming up with the blue, the color blue was very important to us. It was, it's very easy to see blue in a sea of black t-shirts, or in which it surrounds professional wrestling. It gives us a great tagline of look out for the blue hoodies, look out for the blue tees. Easily done. And then the name was probably the hardest part, actually, because we wanted something that was easily identifiable by wrestling fans, but also something that can have a great little metaphor in there as well, which I think the hot tag really took on a personality of its own, if you will, because it was the tagline, you just got to reach out, came from it, and from there, that's when you knew the ball was rolling, and then ideas came from everywhere. And then the second hardest part was forming the team, because at that point I was very much like, I was invested 100% in what I wanted to do, and this is what I wanted to do. And I was like, if you can't give 100%, or you don't feel like you can give 100%, I don't have the time to be able to try and give you that 100%. So I was very determined to get the right people on board. Luckily enough, I've got a great friendship group, really great people that I've known for years. I'll run through them quickly because they're all great people. I'd be remiss if I don't start with my wife Laura. Amazing person. She does a lot for the foundation. You created a great hookup with Life for a Kid charity in Hull, which we're very excited to work with them for the Christmas donation drive as well. We need to get to more events, but we're definitely working on that at the minute with Jonathan, who's our Yorkshire representative. He's going to be my best friend of 20 plus years. I'm pretty sure we met at the same time when me, you, and Jonathan met at the same time at the WrestleMania event for Hooked on Wrestling. Once again, great guy, huge love for professional wrestling. And then there's Nathan, who's our one of our key directors, where he's in charge of organisational development. He was my boss actually a couple of years ago when I was working in a hotel. But his mindset was just next level, and his passion for the whole thing. I think I brought wrestling back out in him because he was a huge attitude era guy years ago. And then I remember bringing up wrestling in like 2019, and I don't know what got over me, but I was like, you need to watch it. You need to watch NXT. You need to watch all this new stuff they're bringing out because it's incredible. And this was a guy set on his attitude era time, so he was very much like, no, I'm happy with Steve Austin and The Rock and all those guys. But I was like, oh, you're missing all the you're missing like Adam Cole or Danny Bryan. You're missing all these great talent that's out there, and you're not getting a chance to experience it. And so I really pushed it on him, bless him. But now he's gone back to being a huge fan. So he's got his own title belts, he's got his own merchandise stuff, and he's such a great guy, family man. Wouldn't hurt a fly. Absolute great guy. Moving on from that, Ross, who's our Scotland representative, we met a couple of years ago when I was doing the other project. He donated the biggest box of wrestling toys I'd ever seen and we'd ever expected, because at that point we were very small, and the donation that sent from Scotland, I remember seeing the postage label and I was like, this is costing like 30 quid to send his box. And it was just full of wrestling toys that he'd bought and collected, and him and his auntie put together. It was brilliant. And Ross was great. Ross is an absolutely fantastic guy. He's done some great representation for us already, and he does a lot of work to raise money for Samaritans. He's an aspiring trainee pro wrestler at Iron Girders Gym in Scotland. And once again, all around great guy. And then to finish off, we've got Dalton, who is our youth ambassador, who is one of the nicest young men you'll ever meet in your life, because we met once again years ago, and it was at a point where during COVID, he donated all of his toys, or sold all of his toys into wrestling action figures, and give it all the money that he raised, about £3,000, I think it was, to his local hospital. And
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that meant great strides for us, and from that we was able to meet Edge, which was a fantastic moment. It's still on the old claim to fame list that I had a 5-second pose with Edge. It's on the Instagram. It's on my Instagram page. Go find it. But yeah, Dalton's been a massive help for us. He made a great link with Rascals Pro Wrestling, which I know you guys have done a story on before. They're a great group of guys as well, with Rossi Rascal, and but even that, going on from that, Dalton's family has been nothing but supportive. They always want to get involved, and we're happy to give back what Dalton gives to us, which is a lot of exposure. So yeah, incredible team. And then like I say, it was, if you're not involved, you're not invested 100%. You can't be involved, because we're trying to make sure that people know that we are trustworthy. We're transparent, open people, and he's going to ask us these questions. We need to be there for it. So I didn't want to make the team too big because, you know, even though my vision was national, it was like we need to make sure we don't go too big for our boots, where I've got a lot of people to liaise with, make sure we're all on track what we're trying to do. And it just seemed like we all had the same core values, and everything that I presented, they had an argument for in a good way. It was like, okay, it's a cool idea, but you're missing this fact. And I think the bouncing of ideas off each other was very important for me, especially trying to lead, if you will. You know, it's still a democracy. We're all equal here. It's just, you know, I get to play the important part and get myself out there, and I did all the branding and stuff like that. It was really fun to do. So, you know, that's pretty much it really. In terms of the foundation, we took our establishment very seriously. We wasn't like we're going to jump in and pretend that we are people that we are in the British wrestling scene, because it's a very loyal fan base, very family driven fan base, and the fact that they all, you know, if you're in it, you're in it, and people know who you are. And I was very respectful towards that. So when it came about, like there's when we started looking at like new shows to attend, there was so many different wrestling promotions across the UK that you were just never aware of at all, and we could not comprehend how many places there were. So going on from that, we managed to speak to some guys like TNT, Tidal, Salford City Wrestling, and they were great, all on board with the idea, which was very massive for us. But we still needed that support angle, so that's where the supporters club came into it, because we got a bit of resistance from the whole partnership thing, because people saw it or may have perceived it as a financial benefit, which it wasn't a financial benefit, because we don't take money from people. It's very one of our key values at the minute is that we don't take money from people. We don't accept anything that you know, if you can't donate your time, because that's worth its weight in gold to us at the minute. Donate your time, share all stuff. It's important that way. And then to finish off, our partnership with Real Wrestling. I've known the guys at Real Wrestling for years. Simon, who's our key liaison there at Real Wrestling, has been nothing but good to us. He printed our supporters club t-shirts, he printed business cards, he printed stickers, he gave us a massive box of donations. Like whatever we needed, he had at his beck and call, and we was ready to do, which was, you know, huge for us, because we didn't expect that kind of, you know. I remember going on the call with Simon and like, Simon, I've got a great idea. I know we spoke before. I've got a great idea. And it's like, whatever it is, I'm on board. Let's go. What do you need? And it was like, he didn't have to do that. It's like, and you know, it's such a great full circle moment for us that we was able to collaborate again. And it's only fair that we integrate their name into what we're doing. So fingers crossed, it gives us good publicity for both parties, and we move on from that. But that's the best you're going to get out of me. I'm losing my voice already. There's me and Simon. We met at Rise, holding the Real Wrestling World Championship, and it was just such a, like, the only way I could describe it is full circle, because once again he was just the biggest help to us, and we cannot, you know, say thanks enough to the guys. If Real Wrestling ever get a chance to see this, which probably will, because they are busy people, thanks guys, I really appreciate it.
I mean, what we can do is we can probably do a timestamp on that and tag them underneath if needed.
Amen to that. Yeah, that's, like I said, that's the overview of the charity. And any questions, fire them what way, and I'll try and be as, you know, as open and transparent as possible, because we are open people. We've said it from day one, we'll be open. None of us have any means not to be, so why not be open, trustworthy? Yeah,
I mean, like I said, with wrestling, especially the fan base, there is a lot of, I don't want to call it a gated community, because the amount of people that we welcome into stuff like this, you go to any wrestling event, I mean, all in this weekend will be a prime example. You can walk down Wembley Way, see someone with a t-shirt of a particular performer, and you can shout their catchphrase if you want. I mean, Money in the Bank 2023, I think it was. The amount of times we just heard, yeah. Yeah, I that's all you got. As LA Knight for Money in the Bank, and my voice went after day one from all the year. Like, it was bad, but great time. But Clash at the Castle. I remember going into work the following day, and I called in sick. I called in and I was like, I can't come into work today. And I was like, why can't I come into work? I was like, I can't speak. My voice is going. I've got a sore throat. I was like, what did you do on the weekend? And I was like,
you know, you just like I was woo, like I couldn't do it
Yep.
because my voice was just gone with all the woos. But yeah, it's you like to say it's such a it's kind of a protected environment in the hardcore scene, especially in like deathmatch wrestling and that kind of stuff. It's very protected. They're very loyal fan base to their promotions. There's a lot of family wrestling out there with like NGW, I'm trying to think of with him for the top guys in like the deathmatch scene and stuff like that, because it's a lot easier. Overall market research, we've found that it's a lot easier to talk to people from the hardcore scene because they've been wrestling fans for years, and that's through no fault of like people's earns for the family shows, but most time it's parents going to set the kids there, and it's hard to get on the level of understanding where it was where they are. When you speak to a guy from a hardcore wrestling scene, the you know, five out of 10, you know, half the time they'll say, "Oh, I've got figures at home. I'll send you them. Like, I don't need them anymore." And that's the target audience that we're looking for. And then the target audience that we collect donations from is completely different to the ones that we give them back to.
Yeah.
So it'll come from people who've got the time, got the money, got the resource to be able to, you know, trust us with this donation, and it'll go to young people who are living with life limiting illnesses or are in unforeseen circumstances. And you know, that's going to be our biggest pressure at the minute, is, you know, delivering on what we're trying to do. We're not making any promises. We're just trying to take it day by day, see where we are, and just get people involved. So it's
what we will do as well is, if anyone does have anything that you would wish to donate, we'll put either a link or an address at the bottom for everyone. You can't send anything off. It will get donated to a good cause. You know that. I mean, I've already spoke to myself about it. I've got a bag of wrestling T-shirts that we're going to get donated to you guys. That's coming from myself. I will speak to the guys on Gimme a Whole Year and see if we can get anything else, whether it is little action figures, whether it is anything else that we think could be useful. We've got Sam in the chat. How are we doing, Sam? One of our other Gimme a Whole Year guys.
Sam?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to jump on, Sam, and you've got any questions for Dan, you're more than welcome to come and join us.
100%. I'll definitely be catching up with Dom at All In. I've already messaged Dom. Me and Dom we go back 4 or 5 years now, when the original, you know, Gimme a Whole Year was going around. Like I've seen you guys go from, you know, that's like we said before the stream, gone from below 1,000 subscribers to where you are now, and the content that you're putting out, you know, really, really fresh and really good. Like, you guys were podcasting before podcasting was cool. Like, it was good. It was healthy. So yeah, if Sam, if you want to join in, join in, ask questions. You know, we'll talk AEW predictions later as well. You know, so that'd be fun.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I really appreciate the donation that you put forward already to us anyway.
Yeah.
Like I say, you don't need to send to the Real Wrestling guys because they're miles out there, and you know, we set up this partnership with Real Wrestling when they allowed us to use their facilities, where it's just a way to safeguard all of our staff and all the volunteers here at the Hot Tag Foundation. So that's important. But you know, we know each other, so just, you know, we'll catch up eventually, and we'll go over that way.
I mean, sort of talking about sort of the mental health side of things, which I know is a big part of what you're doing. Even stuff like Gimme a Whole Year, we've had people that have been watching us for a little while, and they've sort of been going through stuff in their personal lives, and they class us as their safe bubble. They can come in, they can have a good chat with us, they can get stuff off the chest, and they know that they can do everything safely, supported by us guys and even the other people that come and join us on our live streams. Is that something that you're looking at doing further down the line as well? Maybe having your own, I want to call it like a check-in, where people can come and just chat with you guys, or anything else that you're thinking of doing further down the line? That's,
like I said, I don't want to make any promises. It's like it's an aspiration more than anything. I'd like to branch out into adults hopefully after this year, where we can look at becoming like sort of like an Andy's Man Club, but in the wrestling scene. So we'd, you know, in a fever dream, we'd link up with local wrestling promotions and national wrestling promotions where we'd have a great, watch a great show, and then we can all sit down afterwards and chat and talk and just get together on a human level to talk about mental health and important things. And a lot of the wrestlers that we've spoken to, they've been very much like, we are big on mental health because it's hard. Sometimes it can be hard for everybody. And I think when you're living your gimmick or you're giving your persona, it's hard to switch off from it. And we get that. And we want to make sure that we can humanize, these incredible athletes to our level. So I think that's very important for me at the minute, and we are working towards that. But we are taking it day by day, see what's going on. We don't want to jump too far ahead of ourselves. Once Christmas is out the way, we can, take a little bit of time off, regroup, and say, knock on wood, we'd had a successful Christmas drive. What's next? And that's what we're going to keep doing. What's next? What's next? What's next? How do we progress? How do we go to the next level? And that's very important for me because I'm not here to, do this in and out. I'm here for the long term, and I will be here for the long term.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So, I mean, I have got a couple of photos that I just wanted to sort of have a chat about what's going on in the photos. I know you know which photos I've brought up. So there's one of them. So what's going on here?
We were invited off the page where our first promotion supporter, which was very big for us. Like when we spoke to Ben, it was a very similar kind of input that we got from him and output, in the fact that as soon as I called him, he was like, I've been briefed on who you are. I want to get involved. Let's do it. And it was very much like we were really taken back from it. And he offered us free tickets to his events, to set up a station with the real wrestling guys, talk to people, do all that kind of stuff. And like it was just such a great time meeting up with him finally in Warrington, that it was a culmination of 3 months of working together where we can get there. And we are looking at cool active ways to work together. So at the midway through the show, he offered the chance to hold a new off the page World Heavyweight Championship. And me and Ross being the guy he is in the middle, he was like, let's do it. Let's have a good time. Let's show people that we're here. Let's get a nice little photo together. And it was a really good experience to meet all the team off the page, watch how the ring gets set up, watch how people communicate with each other. It was massive. So even holding the belt was just really fun because it's like I don't know, just getting involved. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that we are involved. We have a presence at the events. And off the page, like a lot of promotions at the minute, have given us that platform. Going on from this as well, like we've been given the opportunity to attend off the page, title wrestling, Salford City Wrestling in October, and it's very important to us because our biggest constraint will be is finances at the minute because we are all volunteers. So it's self-funded. We are all volunteers, so it's like making the journey out, and it's kind of organising the budget so we can go to a massive show in Liverpool. But that to us who live on the opposite side of the country, it's it's train travel, it's hotel stay, it's a ticket to an event, and looking at £150-200 by the end of it. And it's like we could go to these shows and speak to these fans, or we can go to 10 different events across the country or in our local area, where we can we could get that presence out there and speak to guys, speak to promoters, speak to who we need to speak to. And it's just about finding that line of like, where can we better use our resource that we actually have and budget to what we can do. So off the page, Salford City Wrestling, title wrestling have offered us free tickets to get there, and free tickets. Sometimes there's even been a donation of free tickets to give away, and that was an interesting experience, especially in our first couple of weeks, to try and give away free tickets when we had like a 200 followers or something. It was we still tried. We made I made a promo video. I was out on the field in streets in Huddersfield trying to give them away. Like I was dedicated to doing it, and there's a lot of hard fall, but it was worth it for the experience.
I think sometimes if you're trying to give away free stuff, especially on the streets for something that like a wrestling show that's not WWE, people think it can be sometimes a little bit dodgy, a little bit more of a scam. But I mean, you're doing as much as you can. You're trying to get people interested in wrestling, and it's a great way to sort of, someone might have watched the Attitude Era or something further down the line, and they've just fallen out of that sort of circle, and just something like that could get them back into it, which is a great way to be reintroduced to the grassroots of wrestling, of the local indie shows, because them are the people that need more support than anyone else.
Yeah, you're not wrong there at all. 100%. Like I say, it was hard to speak to people, despite saying, oh, can I have a moment of your time? Because it was looked like we were trying to sell them something, and that was, it's been good in the fact that we've been able to gain that research and like how to speak to people, because people don't want a long conversation. I want like a 10-second pitch, or there's one handing a flyer. And if we can have a powerful flyer like what we have here, which has all the information on it, people will read the flyer. If they don't want it, that's fine. But it saves our breath, and it gives us the opportunity to get around more people and speak to more people, where we can just like, hi guys, you have any questions, let us know. We're not asking for anything, just have a look. We found out the word free is a big trigger for people, because they're like, oh, free.
Yeah,
that's a great idea, free. So when it comes to like free tickets or a free raffle to win a prize or whatever, people loved it. Eat that stuff up all day long. But it's like, we want to make sure that we're not stepping on anyone's toes. I remember doing I know one of the pictures that you've got up from NGW. I went to NGW with a team. We was like, oh, we're gonna put together like a raffle to, you can win tickets to the next NGW show. And we didn't realize NGW were doing it as well. So people got confused. Bless them. Was like, they're giving away free tickets. At the end of it, it was like people messaging us going, "Oh, we won the free tickets." I'm like, that wasn't the ticket number. It was probably NGW's ticket number. So make sure we're not stepping on anyone's toes. But that was the barring Laura, that was our full team pretty much, and Dimmy, one of our volunteers. Another good friend of mine. And that's Nathan in the middle and Jonathan at the back. We had a great time. We all sat there. We all got along. We invited you along, Dan. Unfortunately, it was very late.
Yeah.
But we wanted to. We was there in presence at NGW. It's local. It's hometown show, which gives us the opportunity to get there, and even speak to some of the guys that we spoke to. Like I'm good friends with like Matt Myers and stuff like that. I speak to Matt often, and then like Nathan Cruz, Ace Matthews, Vusic. Like there was some great talent on the card. And it gives us that opportunity to speak to them. And Nina Samuels as well. We gained a follower from Nina Samuels, which was great for us at the time. And going on from that, our first follower was none other than Charles Crowley, and I have no idea how that happened. But Charles Crowley was our first follower, and then we had like Harley Hudson followers. Now we've got, thanks to Dalton, we've got Adam Maxted following us, Nina Samuels following us. Like it was brilliant. So we just need to make sure we're on track where we are, making sure that we're not doing anything that's overselling what we're doing. We're just making sure that what we're saying is the God honest truth, and people can understand that. When it's like, because some people have come to us and said like, I don't get why you're doing it when you're not getting anything out of it. And it's like that's the point, that we're not trying to get out there. It's not looking out of it. Maybe long term, I'd like to think of it. Maybe it could become a full-time job where it could turn into a charity. But at the minute, it's not something that I can financially stably financially put out there. So we are working very hard in doing that, and we've got, like, I've written up all the documentation to make us a CIC, but it doesn't feel like the right time yet. We don't have the time to give it and to manage it. But we've got some great connections now, like Kingdom Wrestling. They're a charitable organisation, a legitimate registered charity. And they're around Leeds and Bradford and Shipley and Castleford and that area, and they're absolutely fantastic with us, because they're like, we want to get you on board, we want to make sure that you're present at our shows, we want to make sure that we can help you help us, and vice versa. So and they're doing some great things at the minute. They've just opened their first wrestling academy for young people as well as adults, and then they've got a women's self-defense class that they're doing with Gareth, who owns Kingdom Wrestling. And it's absolutely fabulous what they're doing. So we're going to take some time, do some volunteer work down there as well, and get involved in their stuff as well. So I can't ask enough from Kingdom Wrestling, because they've been, even then, they give us free tickets to their show, and we had a blast. Like, you ever been to a wrestling show in a church next level
No.
stuff. Next level stuff.
I bet the acoustics on the ring sort of bumps are absolutely amazing.
They had this guy called Ben who was an opera singer as the ring announcer. Wow, his voice was
Epic.
incredible, and that especially in that environment. Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Even the Reverend got in the ring. Like she was talking on the microphone. Like she was cheering. She was getting involved. And it was like, when you sat there thinking, what am I watching? This is insane. Like, and then there was going over stuff like they'd done like a baptism in a wrestling ring, or they'd set a Bible on fire and stuff like how are you getting away with this kind of stuff? But it was like,
Yeah.
but Gareth's like a massive born again Christian, and in the fact that Christianity saved his life and wrestling saved his life, and he wanted to combine those two to very similar values to what we're doing, but without the religious aspect. But he's such a great guy to talk to, and he had such great ideas, and you think, how is this guy getting away with it? And I remember speaking to him, and it's like, we was just trying to get more people into the church, and I thought, I'm going to put on a wrestling show, and it worked. It was really fun. But like say when we went to like shows like Kingdom, it was hard to speak to people because there was very much like members of the church. It wasn't like wrestling fans who have the resource to, barring a few people that we managed to speak to. They'd come just to the day out or to the kids out and stuff. And it was a good experience. We loved it, and they made like a big deal out of it. They put like our logo and our graphic on the screens. They panned the live stream camera to us through a little wave. They offered us a chance to go in the ring, and I won't deny it. I had a bit of anxiety about going in the ring anyway. So it was like, maybe next time it'd be fun. So very excited to go back to Kingdom Wrestling in September. Me and Laura will probably make it a monthly thing for us now. So very, very excited for that. Very excited.
I mean, with that, Sam, who does come on to Gimme Hull stuff, has also got his own thing that he does with Dom called WrestleSphere, and he's actually put a message for you. We'd be happy to also feature Hot Tag Foundation on WrestleSphere if that'll help. With them, they are doing sort of interviews and stuff and going to shows, so they might be able to help with maybe a couple of connections to help get your word across as well.
Yeah, I think WrestleSphere, because I think Dom did something for us when we first started. We put our press release out. I'm pretty sure John put it on WrestleSphere. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Check it out. I'm sure it'll be on there somewhere because I'm sure I shared it. But I remember speaking to Dom when I first had the idea, because we, like say, me and Dom are good friends. We go back some years now. And Dom was very much like, I want to make sure that you're doing, everyone's giving it what you're giving it, and we'll rendezvous in a couple of months and then get on board on what you're doing. And I just like to say, I need to rendezvous with Dom and make sure let him know what we're all doing and how healthy we are as a team and how the foundation's doing. And we'll catch up all in on the weekend, which is going to be great. Me and Laura has been for tapas with Dom and his partner. Like we go way back. Me and Dom now. We're good friends. We have a good laugh, really good time. But we're busy people. We never get a chance to meet up anymore. But yeah, Dom was great for us when we first started, because he's very business minded. He's very smart and very direct in what he's doing. He wants to make sure that he's protecting all of his his babies, Soundsphere, WrestleSphere, Gimme a Hull and stuff like that, and I completely understand that, and that's one thing that we've been not struggling to do, but we've very much put out there. It's like when we speak to wrestling promotions, I won't name names, but when we speak to some wrestling promotions, it's like this is our livelihood. Like if you mess up, then it messes us up, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that to you at all. So luckily, when we spoke to one promotion in Lincolnshire, Matt Myers had our back, and Matt was like, yeah, these guys are great. Speak to Dan, great guy, and that goes a long way for us. Having people like you guys that Give Me a Whole Year or anywhere across what we've been able to to speak to people is awesome. So there you go, Dom, perfect. Dom's already in the chat, but yeah, always. Like I said, massive love to Dom. We had a very interesting chat at the first, but when the integration of the Hot Tag Foundation came around, and it was a big eye opener. And like I say, his mind just worked in a completely different way to how we work, how I thought it was going to work. And I think that really stuck with me. And I'd always take Dom's word as gospel, because he's one of the most inspirational people I've ever met. I'm not trying to blow smoke up his backside or anything, but it's been, it's been nothing but good to me over the past couple of years. Same with partner as well. Been nothing good to me and Laura. Like it's been to our house to watch wrestling, and I remember Laura making like Laura she made like loads of wrestling punned food and drinks and stuff like that. And the only person that could have truly appreciated it was Dom. And when he was there, he was like, "Oh, taken back by all these great food." And you think, like, you've got to be a different kind of person to take on all that. And it was. It's good to have him in our lives. So very excited to catch up at All In. We do have something really, really, really cool at All In. I won't reveal what it is as of yet because it's still in the confirmation stages. But if you are there, Dom, just make sure you're in the box park with Hooked on Wrestling. That's all I'm going to say. Very excited to get involved. Like I said, we got lucky to win VIP tickets to All In to go in a box suite. So fingers crossed, it's going to be a next level experience and Rev Pro as well, which I'm very, very excited to finally attend a Rev Pro event.
Nice. So speaking of All In, I know you're going to be there. I know Dom and Sam are going to be there as well, doing sort of a few features for WrestleSphere. So we did say right at the start we'd probably be having a bit of an All In chat. So what we'll do is we'll run through the card. Each match we'll give a couple of minutes or as long as you want on what you think is going to happen, who do you think is going to win. So starting off with the AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Toni Storm versus the Glamour Mariah May. What do you think?
I've got to go with Toni. I'm a huge Toni Storm fan. I have been since her NXT UK days. Even before that, I enjoyed watching her in Progress. I'm a massive Toni Storm fan, and I feel like it'd be a bit like I like Mariah May. I love to work in like Stardom and stuff in Japan, but I feel like I don't want it to be another. We're in London. Let's give it to the British person. Like same with like I don't know. Last time it felt like it was like Saraya's won it. Will Ospreay's won, and it was great representation for the country, but they need to have that angle where it's like, okay, Mariah May's been her protege, but Toni Storm's still the biggest draw in the women's division that you've got. So I'm a big Toni Storm fan, and I love all the work she's done so far, especially with Timeless Toni Storm. I'm going to go with Toni. Don't know about you, but I'm going with Toni.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything there. The Timeless Toni Storm gimmick was, when it first came out, I wasn't the biggest fan, I'll be all on my hands up. But the way that she's been able to incorporate every single sort of aspect of the character into I want to call it a masterpiece. It is an absolute genius idea that has really resonated with fans, which is fantastic. For a gimmick of what it is, it shouldn't have worked as well as it does, which is all credit to Toni.
100%.
We've got a stipulation, a coffin match for the TNT Championship, Jack Perry versus Darby Allin. And if you've been keeping your eye on social media over the past sort of day or two, you'll see that Jack Perry has actually created his own version of the TNT Championship, which it's fantastic to see the level that he's gone to create that championship for himself. So do we think Darby Allin will be taking it off him?
I feel like it's going to be one to watch. I feel like there's a lot of potential behind it. Darby Allin was a great TNT champion. I really much enjoyed his run. He had some great matches in his run. But I don't know. I'm surprised they went with a coffin match because I'm pretty sure they did a coffin match last year with when Darby Allin was All In. So
Darby and Sting, yeah,
very similar. But it's their spectacle. It's their WrestleMania arguably because it's a huge event. I'm gonna go with Jack Perry because I feel like he's got a lot of momentum at the minute. Especially, I think Tony's kind of trying to capitalize on the CM Punk stuff. In the fact that in a counterbalance kind of way. So I think the more that CM Punk was over, the more Jack Perry was able to get over in Japan, and then brought him over to with joining up with the Elite, taking out Tony Khan on TV. There's a few months now, but I feel like he's still quite over. It's still quite a fresh TNT run. I'm very excited to see where it goes. I was a huge fan of Jack Perry when he was Jungle Boy. And I think backstage politics kind of got in the way of that run, but he's utilised it really well. So I think I'm going to go with Jack because I just think there's so much more with this TNT title run that we're not seeing.
Yeah, I think the same thing. With Darby Allin winning, there is going to be, I think, a lot of faces win at the show, and I think Jack Perry's a justified heel that can retain to give the card a little bit of balance overall. Next one for me, I think it will be match of the night. And when you hear that it's the American Championship, MJF, Will Ospreay, I don't think anyone will argue with the quality of the two performers that it should be match of the night.
When you said match of the night, I was expecting you to like take a swerve and say Chris Jericho versus Hook or something, or like I was waiting for that swerve. No pun intended. But same again. I don't want it to be glorified like British people were in Britain. Like last time it was filled with Queen and it was filled with like all that kind of like British like little innuendo, how you want to put it, and it was a show for British people, and all the Brits win. I don't want it to be like that again. I want it to be like it's a rivalry driven show. Big fan of MGF. For a guy to get the company tattooed on his leg, same with Ospreay, he got a tattoo on his arm. But for a guy to get AEW tattooed on his leg in plain sight, it's a bit of a bold move. And I think he deserves to be where he is. Like his match against Will Ospreay, to me it dragged out a bit because it was a long match, and in those matches it's hard to get to a point where there's you're not constantly using like a finishing maneuver or like that kind of stuff. And I still feel like they may continue the whole storyline of MGF versus Will Ospreay and the Tiger Driver, and then they're going to play into that a lot. He showed up at Rev Pro when Michael Oku was against MJF, and it was like big huge moment in Rev Pro, big huge moment in Ospreay's career because he's a big Rev Pro guy, and I think Michael Oku may have something to say about it all in. So I still think MJF's going to go over. I think I'm the opposite here. I think I'm going for a heavily heeled victory show, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm going with my guy Max because I'm a huge MJF fan. I'm a huge Ospreay fan though. I won't lie, huge Ospreay fan, but MJF's is on another level in terms of like an all-round character. I don't know.
I think this is where I'm going to go completely opposite for you. I think Will Ospreay, if it wasn't for the level of Strickland and Danielson's match later on, I think Will Ospreay would be going up against Swerve Strickland. But I think this MJF storyline, the Will Ospreay, the Tiger Driver, it's just been absolutely next level every single time they've competed. It was, the Iron Man match that they had, I think with a lot of them, sometimes they try and fill it with too much, but they took a very methodical pace to the match, which I think really emphasised the quality of both performers. But for me, I've got to go Will Ospreay on this one. It's in London, and that's the main reason for that one. That's the only reason.
True, it is true, and I'm not surprised you chose Ospreay because I'm still on the fence of like it's a good idea because it can pick it back to Ospreay, but it's like where do you go from there in terms of like because both guys they're on the main event level where they should be in the world title picture. Who would you have? Yeah. Whoever loses. Barring the Casino Battle Royale, or maybe one of them might show up in the Casino Battle Royale, they'll be next in line for the title, I think. Like, if it goes back to MJF because he had an injury, he deserves to be in that position. If it goes to Will Ospreay, he deserves it. And I think one thing that Tony can, and it's not a huge slate to the guy, but I feel like he's always quite late in his decision making. In terms of like, I feel like Swerve's win was too late. They missed out on like a huge potential of when I think Samoa Joe winning the title was good, but maybe it was the wrong time because I'd love to have seen Swerve take it off MJF because that would have been huge for his career. But it was but that's just me. I feel like Swerve was over. It was over in the end, but it was very easy to predict that he was going to win it in the end. When it should have been like a huge moment where he'd won it from MJF, but. That's my opinion. So we'll see what happens. But what's next?
Next one, the AWTBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
They've put so much money into Mercedes money. They will not allow to make her the face of TBS. So I'm going with Mercedes money because I feel like she still has a lot to prove in AEW. She's been quite a mouthpiece in AEW, and I think they need to get the money's worth in terms of her wrestling ability because she's a very talented wrestler. And I think that they need to cash in on that a little bit more and really show that what she can actually do in the ring. So I'm going to go with Mercedes on this one because I think Britt will put up a great fight, and I think she's a great former world champion to give her that good start. A former world champion to give her that start in this run, because I like a lot of the facts in that AEW, a lot of even in WWE now, the mid card titles are not a mid card title anymore. It's a second step to it's the silver medal of being a world champion. It's massive, and I think the fact that they're putting on these guys is good and healthy, and I think that's like even more like in WWE, the Gunther is the Intercontinental Champion. It made it a different, it put on another level, and it's very relevant in companies like AEW and WWE, where the man makes the championship, not the championship makes the man. Yeah. I think, or the woman in this sense. So I think they're definitely going to need to have Mercedes Moné front line centre to be that TBS champion. So to finalise Mercedes all the way.
I'm actually thinking Britt. She's only been back a couple of months, and I think at the minute she's on such a hype train. I think if you're going to keep the title on Mercedes Moné, I think there has to be something happen, and I think you could possibly see Saraya or Jamie Hayter maybe.
I was thinking this. I was like, maybe it would be in that match, but why would it be in that match? But did Britt Baker injure Jamie Hayter, or am I reading that wrong?
In all honesty, I cannot remember for the life of me.
I would love to see Jamie Hayter make an appearance at All In. I would love it because I think the pop would be huge, and like she deserves it. She was a great AEW Women's Champion. But again, it's like you don't want to put it into a match that's built a big rivalry. So it's like you don't want to have him interfere in the Tony Storm match. But then again, I think Tony Storm might have been the person to injure. I can't remember. It depends how
I'm literally just checking. Hayter was seriously injured in a match while against Tony Storm.
Yeah, so maybe she might have been involved in the Tony Storm right match. Like
quite possibly, yeah.
Might mega heel, we don't know. Like, but like I say, it's the UK. And did she miss last All? She did, didn't she? She was injured.
Yeah.
So she might make that stamp this year. I don't know if she's cleared to compete. I've not seen any reports, but we'll see.
Definitely, yeah. So this one is the last chance match for the FTW Championship. If Hook loses, he can never challenge for the FTW Championship while Jericho is still champion. So we've got Chris Jericho going up against Hook.
I'll let you go first on this one.
This one, I think with having two separate big stipulations on this one and main event match, I think you've got to keep the title on Jericho, because if you swap it to Hook, it makes the second match later on seem a little bit more predictable. If you keep it on Jericho, you could go either way in the main event, and I don't think anyone would be surprised at either outcome.
It's exactly my thought process and all that whole thing as well. And I'll add the fact that I feel like Hook's being held down because of going after the FTW Championship when he should be in the arguably like the TNT picture of being like a solid competitor against guys like Jack Perry. So, and I'd hate to see him go to just being a member of the Ring of Honor roster, but he should be in the AEW roster because he's a very talented young guy, and he's not getting is a good attraction for that whole thing where it's like beating people in like 30 seconds, but he's really shining himself out for people, for a guy who can hold himself in the ring, which is good for a young guy. I'm pretty sure he's around my age, about 25, 26, even younger maybe. But he puts himself out there, does a great job, but I feel like he's been held down by the fact that he's going after the FTW title. And I get that it's his dad's legacy, but maybe that cut off will be good for him. So I'm going Jericho.
Yeah. I'll stick with you on that one, Jericho, I think. And yeah, I've just double checked Hook is 25 as well.
There you go.
Three-way tag match for the World Tag Championship. You've got the Young Bucks, FTR, and the Acclaimed. I think this is going to be absolute chaos, but in the best way.
Don't know who it's going to be. I'm on the fence for all three. Like, they've got reason to give it to all three. I think FTR is a bit less of a reason, through no fault of their own. But I don't know. I think, like, same with Jack Perry retaining. I think Young Bucks will retain. I think they've got a great thing going with the Elite, with Okada. I think Okada's going to make an appearance somewhere on this card. I know he's got a match against Claudio on Dynamite, which is massive. That's tonight, isn't it? Dynamite.
That's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, yes. I think it was Wednesday. But yeah, Dynamite tomorrow night in Cardiff. Like, that's massive, and I think the card's really filling up for that as well, which is good, in Collision as well. So it's going to be interesting. Going to be a good start. I see a good start to the All-In weekend. And yeah, I don't know. It's certainly a difficult one. I don't know about yourself. If you want to give it away, I'm going to have a little think.
I think, yeah, like you said, you could put the titles on any of these three teams, whether it is the Young Bucks retaining or FTR or the Acclaimed, and all three of them feel like it is their time again. The Acclaimed and FTR have already held the championships, but if you put it back on them, could you free up the Young Bucks to do more for the trios championships with Okada maybe, or is there other things that the Young Bucks could be doing? Because I think they've held the titles for quite a while, but they've defended it absolutely minimal, and that I think is the problem. FTR and the Acclaimed, I think they would be on shows regularly and defending it a lot more regularly. So to me, as long as the Young Bucks don't walk out with the championships, I'm going to be a happier person overall, I think, for my championship reigns, basically.
I don't know about you, but I'm happy with the way that Christian Cage is looking after the patriarchy at the minute, with the trio belt. And I won't jump to that match probably next, whenever it will be. But
yeah,
you know, Okada being the Continental Champion, Jack Perry being the TNT Champion, you know, it only makes sense that they'd continue and retain, unless it was going to go to the Acclaimed, which I think would also be a good idea to go to the Acclaimed. Even though they've had, you know, Max had a bit of a backlash over the past couple of, you know, his politics has been a bit off in terms of his rap style, but he still comes back. He still comes back every time. They had a little suspension to come back, and people still love him, the Acclaimed, and everybody loves the Acclaimed. It's their tagline. It's the reason behind it. So I wasn't a huge fan of the Acclaimed for long when I first started it, but from that they've really turned my opinion around. So I'm going to go with the Young Bucks. I think for my guess. I think a very heel-driven show, this one, but I think especially when it's usually quite close to All Out. It's like, what do you do? Like, what do you do on that level? So I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to go with Young Bucks.
Yeah, okay. And penultimate match, the World Trios Championship, is a 4-way London ladder match. They're calling it. It is the Patriarchy, it's the Bang Bang Gang, it's House of Black, and it's the wildcard winners. I think that's on Dynamite tomorrow night, so there could be a big team announced for that one. But based on the three we've got, Patriarchy, Bang Bang Gang, and House of Black, what do we think?
Patriarchy.
Yeah.
All day long. Like, they're Christian's class. Unless Luchasaurus decides to turn, I can't see him taking it off him. Or if I don't know who's in the wild card, I've not looked at it yet, but I'd love to see the team of Kyle O'Reilly. Is it Kyle O'Reilly tomorrow? I'm trying to think of it. Is Kyle O'Reilly, Eddie Kingston, somebody else? I can't remember who it was. It's in my head now, and I'm trying to think who the other people were. They're doing like great things on Ring of Honor. I'm trying to think what the team's actually made of. But I remember watching a promo and thinking they shouldn't work together, but they're so funny together. And you're going to have to search who they are and tell me who they are. It's going to rock my brain. But whoever Kyle O'Reilly's team was on Ring of Honor in the trio stuff is just, comedy gold. I don't think it's Ishii. I got Ishii in my head, but I don't know if it is it. I don't know. Don't know if you can find the thing. Just kind of like Ring of Honor. I don't know. Try and find it. I don't know. I can't. My phone. I'm using my phone to record, so I can't find it on there. But
no, it's fine.
I don't think a wild card's going to make a difference in this, unless it's like somebody major. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's not even coming up on there, but it's fine. So, yeah, I think patriarchy for this one. Bang Bang Gang, I think are absolutely fantastic. They're great characters. They work really well together. House of Black are absolute magic. Depending on who the wild card winners are, it could throw a spanner in the works. But patriarchy, yeah, unless Kill Switch, Luchasaurus, whichever you want to call him, does turn, I think patriarchy all day long are walking out with the titles.
I think, looking back now, I think the team is Kyle O'Reilly, Tomohiro Ishii, and Matt Briscoe. I could be wrong, but they're doing some funny stuff on Ring of Honor at the minute.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll rendezvous afterwards and confirm this. But yeah, I'm going to go with patriarchy. I can see why you are as well.
Yeah, me too. And main event, which we presume it will be, title versus career for the AEW World Championship. It's Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson. Is this going to be Bryan Danielson's last match, do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know. I hate to see Bryan Danielson retire. I'd love to be there if it is his final match. I'm glad that I'm proud that I'll be there. But it's like, I don't want him to retire yet. He's got so much more, and there's so many new people that have come into AEW at the minute where he needs to go against them and he needs to test them in the ring and have that great chemistry. So I don't know, but Swerve's like I say, I feel like if Swerve won it earlier, this would have been the time for him to kind of drop it.
Yeah.
I think at the point, because there's no argument that some wrestling fans are fickle and they'll cry and they'll want something to happen, and as soon as it happens, they'll turn. It happens all the time, and I feel like if Swerve Strickland won it back in January at World's End instead of Samoa Joe, it would have been a different story now. I feel like Swerve's still got a lot to prove in terms of proving himself to be a world title champion. But
yeah,
I don't want Daniel Bryan to leave. But Bryan Danielson, sorry. But I'm gonna go with Swerve but I don't know, because maybe there's swerving on the whole the Bryan Danielson video package. I don't know. Like, I saw the video package and nearly cried my eyes out, thinking, my God, has it been that long? Like, since the Yes Movement, has it been that long since like his days in Ring of Honor, and like when he was the American Dragon back in Ring of Honor, and his debut in NXT, wearing William Regal's tights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to say Swerve, but it's a sad thing saying Swerve.
Yeah. To me, I think, as you said, Bryan Danielson's got a lot more to give. I think there's so many people that he could be with, and I think Strickland's at the age where he could drop the title to Danielson and he could leave the title picture for a little bit. Build himself up. I mean, building himself up even more when you're the world champion sounds a crazy thing to do, but I think he can go away and tweak his character a little bit, do little bits completely separate to the championship, and come back even stronger. Because Swerve versus near enough anyone on the main roster, I think is going to be a money match, given a little bit more story. MJF, if he drops the title to Will Ospreay, him versus Bryan Danielson at the next Premium Live event, pay-per-view, I think is going to be a big match. Could you see Swerve getting a rematch? Maybe. But there's so many more potential sort of options. And people love Bryan Danielson. People will pay the money to watch him. So I don't think he's going to hang up his boots yet. I think we could even get to the point where you're copying the Ric Flair storyline. The next time you lose is your last match.
Mm.
And you could do that for quite a while. And with that World Championship on the line every time, it creates a lot more jeopardy. People know that Bryan Danielson's neck and concussions, and he's not at the absolute peak of health, but he is going on, not in a disrespectful way, but he's not a super spring chicken anymore, is he?
No, and I get that he wants to protect his future for his kids' sake, for
Yeah.
the Bree's sake. Like I get that completely. I think he's got one of those wrestling minds that would be wasted if he weren't like a producer or a trainer or something like that. I think like a company like PW would massively benefit from having Daniel Bryan locked in a tenured position as their head trainer or their or a producer.
Massively.
Stuff like that. I think it can. It's a good point you put across. Like having the it makes the title more valuable in the fact that someone's holding it, and as soon as they lose, and it gives added like every match is a career best title match. And it's like I think it'd be a pretty cool idea, but I don't know. I think they need to lock in Daniel Bryan now while he's safe and he's healthy to be able to give more to the industry than just the wrestling that he's doing. Which he already does do behind the scenes, I'm sure. But I think giving him more time, AW will thrive under it. So,
I mean, the thing that I would quite like to see, and I've been weighing all of the different options up for quite a while on it, is who was one of the people that trained Bryan Danielson, Shawn Michaels. Could you put Bryan Danielson as head booker / trainer or whatever you want of Ring of Honor and have that as AEW's proper development? So you have the student or the master of Shawn Michaels and Bryan Danielson training the development teams for both shows. Because I think that is something that he would thrive on, and there'd be so many people that could benefit from that because of his knowledge, because of his in-ring work, and his ability to craft a story in a match.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't have bad things to say about Ring of Honor, but I feel like Tony Khan's done Ring of Honor dirty. I feel like, and in the way, in the fact that I feel like they've added too much, because it's all part of like the Dynamite experience or Collision experience. It's taken away from what Ring of Honor truly was. It's like PWG in an arena. It's not something that works because it's a very close-up kind of experience. I think Ring of Honor, as well as TNA as well, when that was in its heyday in like 2000 and 2005, 2008, that kind of era, 2004, 2008, whenever. But like in that era, it was massive because it was real small, very intimate, and it had the edge about it. I think Ring of Honor, fair enough, you can see it as a development, but they've got a lot of incredible guys, like people there, like I feel like Athena has been just forgotten about as the Ring of Honor world champion. Jonathan Gresham was a great Ring of Honor world champion, and I thought they did him dirty. Like they had Chris Jericho go to Ring of Honor, and it feels like a step down. Now it's like they've just been put to Ring of Honor instead of, oh my God, they've turned up in Ring of Honor. It's like, where do you draw the line? And I'd love to see in the resurgence of TNA now. I just hate what Ring of Honor has become, because I don't follow it anymore because it's not for me. I'm a big WWE fan. I'm not the biggest AEW fan because becoming an adult, I've realised that I enjoy promos a lot better. I enjoy the stories a lot better.
Yeah,
and I don't mind if it's like a 5-6 minute match, as long as it tells a story. And I think that's one thing I differentiate from AEW, where I'm watching an hour-long, match that ends in a time limit draw, and I'm tired by the end of watching it. And I remember going to Orland last year, and it was match after match after match after match, and after the 6th match, I was like, I'm so tired.
I need a break.
I need a break. I need to wait. I need to watch some guy get a pie thrown in his face backstage or something ridiculous. But maybe that's because I grew up when I first was into it. It was during the start of the PG era, so I enjoyed a bit of like the humorous side of it as a young person. So like being now, I think I'm just a miserable fart who just enjoys the promo as well as a good fight. So I don't know. Each to their own, I suppose. Each to their own.
Oh yeah, but we all club together. That's what we're all here for. We're here to enjoy wrestling.
We do. I think I enjoy it a bit too much.
I don't know. I don't think you can enjoy wrestling so much anymore. It's becoming the cool thing again. Especially with The Rock and Roman early this year. There was such a zeitgeist about how much people in the non-wrestling bubble was reacting to the stuff that was happening in WWE because it was all over every social media. It was referenced on TV quite a lot as well. So wrestling back in the actual era is becoming cool again, which is what we want.
Yeah, you're right, and I think, and I argue this to the moon because Nathan, who's a massive Attitude Era advocate, like someone asked on the I think it was the Soul Sessions podcast, like, what's the best era in wrestling? And I said now, because there's more eyes on it. Arguably because it's the social media tracking, there's more eyes on it. It's becoming mainstream again. Like The Rock and Cody stuff coming up. Like you even look at like the Fanatics thing over the weekend. WWE was the only company that sold out their tickets. Like against like, and Fanatics are part of like the NFL and the NHL, so all these kind of like big brands. And you think WWE's outsold them for tickets. Even Cody Rhodes sold his tickets out, and like they had a great show into like CM Punk's interview and all that kind of stuff. And you think, wow, how have they been able to do that? So I'm still whenever I'll back it now. The Renaissance era, if you want to call it that, is the best era of wrestling, and I'm so happy that I'm at this stage of my life where I can actually enjoy it and look at it in a good way. I'm very positive about wrestling. I don't feel like it should be like a tribunal thing. Like it should be like there's tribes for AEW and tribes for WWE. Like there's wrestling on every single day of the week at the palm of your hand. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. And it should be accessible to all. And that's what one thing we're trying to do at the foundation, is make it accessible to everybody.
Yeah. And I think that's a great way that we can end it. Thank you very much for coming on. As Sam said over on WrestleSphere, they can do a follow-up one for you from the previous article that they've had. Have a good catch-up with Dom. Have a good catch-up with Sam. If you ever want to come back on and come and watch a Monday Night Raw with me and we can have a chat about bits. It's 3 hours. It starts at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a long haul. It is hard work.
I've been meaning to get back into the wrestling kitchen with Dom for so long.
That doesn't exist anymore.
I know, but bring it back for one show, like at least. We'll get back in there eventually. I'd like to, if it's okay with you, I'd like to end on like the Total Rumble donation drive that we've got going on currently.
100%. You'll go for it. You'll have the final word.
Thank you very much. So the Total Rumble, it's a huge, hopefully a huge event that we're doing. It's an annual thing. Depending on how this year goes, we are looking for it to be annual. There's rules of the Rumble, which is great. Go check it out on our Instagram page and our Facebook page and any of our social media platforms, our website, our TikTok, or whatever the kids are into these days. We're all on it. The only thing we're not on is X because it's quite toxic at the minute. So in terms of the Total Rumble, there's 7 or 8 rules of the Rumble. They're quite simple to follow. You just say it says where the toys should be getting sent to, logistically, so they can be protected, wrapped, and stored away safely at the Real Wrestling storage unit in Dudley. Going on from that, we go to I'm trying to think of the rules from the top of my head, but the rule number 2. Can you get these on the screen so I can remember?
Let's see if I can. Are they on your
Instagram page or Facebook page or everywhere? So I'm sure you'll be able to find.
Okay.
I'll send you them over. I'm on my phone doing this. I think it might interrupt the stream, but it's because there's so many. It was quite an interesting, difficult thing to put out there. Make sure it's worded correctly, and we had the right marketing strategy for it. Very colourful, very out there. Wanted to make sure that people understood that we were looking to make sure the donations are looked after correctly and are put out there.
Let's try this. There you go.
Are we up? There we go. Perfect. So that's there you go. That's rule number 1. Send donations to these premises. They'll be safe. They'll be protected, and they get logged when they get in there. The guys at Real Wrestling drop us a message in our little software thing that we have, and then we log it on there. It's all logged to where it's come from. If you want to slide over to the second rule. Second rule, donations will be accepted between the time frame of August 1st to December 1st to allow us time to sanitize and pack the items. These will then be distributed by Hot Tag Foundation members to local charities and families during the holiday season. And that will lean into one of the other rules, I think rule number 6, about the ability to be able to nominate people as well. We'll go into that as well. So we accept both new and used toys. I said it earlier in the stream. It doesn't need to be wrestling related stuff. It can be, stickers, posters, clothing, fidget toys, sensory toys, superhero stuff. Anything that we can jam pack into these boxes is going to go somewhere good. So don't think I've only got a few wrestling things that I can give away or I can donate. Find something that you've got, like if you've got like a spare, I don't know, t-shirt of a superhero or whatever, send it to our way, because to us, wrestling is a real life superhero in the terms of like the storylines and the characters and the athleticism. Send it our way and we'll reference it. We'll do all that work. Send it our way and we'll make sure it goes to the right places. But if you have any queries, DM us on Instagram. We all have access to all of our social platforms. So drop us a DM and we'll go through that. If you go on to rule number 4, any items deemed inappropriate that may bring negative exposure to or could pose a risk to young people will be dismissed and returned respectfully. That's just the way we'll do research on all the wrestlers that we come across. So if we come across someone that we feel like would pose that risk of like maybe be exposed to drugs or done something in their personal life that would reflect
stuff negative. Like Nick Gage wouldn't be accepted.
Yeah, Nick Gage definitely wouldn't be accepted. We had
Okay. Have we frozen? I'll carry on. See how we do. I don't know if Dan might have frozen. Rule 5, encourage you to add personalised notes with your donation that explains what pro wrestling means to you. So, like myself, pro wrestling, it's been a constant in my life. Ever since being about 8 or 9 years old, people go on about they can remember certain times of their life by a movie or a TV show. I go for the same thing through a wrestling event that happened. And that, to me, is what wrestling can bring to some people. I can talk about certain matches and I can get emotional thinking about the matches because of what was going on in my life at the time. Even if it's about your favourite superstars. If you're donating as we said earlier on, like a Bryan Danielson t-shirt or an old school Daniel Bryan t-shirt when he was in WWE, you can talk about why he was your favourite superstar at that time. Or if you've got a story about a wrestler that you think might be appropriate, that would be welcomed as well. So Roll of the Rumble number 6 is, if you're not able to donate due to financial constraints, don't feel obligated. We also get donations of time just by supporting us. It doesn't cost a thing to like a post. It doesn't cost anything to press that share button. It doesn't cost anything to tell your friend about something like this. It is very easy to basically support without giving a lot of time. A like, a share, a subscription on, or a follow on Instagram. It is very easy to help promote. Roll of the Rumble number 7. If you do have anyone you would like to nominate, a child, family, or charity to receive any of the donations, please get in touch, whether it is through the Instagram page, whether it is through the TikTok page, or the Facebook page. There is also the email, which I have got there for everyone, info@hottagfoundation.co.uk. If you have any questions at all, Dan, Laura, and any of the other guys do have access to that email address. They will get back to you. They will give as much information as they can to make sure that your questions are answered as thoroughly as possible. If you have any other questions at all, you can still go through them as well. So I'm sorry that we lost Dan halfway through that, but hopefully I've done the sort of second half as good as Dan would have done. If you do have any other questions at all, there is in the description, there is links to their website, their Instagram, and the TikTok page, as well as the Facebook page for Hot Tag Foundation. But I hope you've liked this little bit of a different vibe. So someone that's always talking about positivity and is absolutely manic. Oh, he's just coming back by the looks of it. There we go. You're back.
Sorry, my phone wasn't charging. Terribly sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I have gone through the other bits, and I hope, I mean, if you do watch it back, I don't know if you will, but I hope I've done them justice for you.
I'm sure. Like the last thing I wanted to highlight was two of the most important rules to us anyway. The first one is you have the ability to nominate families. You have the ability to nominate people. Send us the information, and we'll review it as a team. We'll talk to you about it, and we'll go over it. I believe it's number 7 yet. Nominate people, nominate charities that you feel that are worthy to receive these kind of things, or would benefit from these kind of things. Like it's hard for us at the minute. We don't accept national charities because they're doing a lot of good work already. We want to look at the little guys. We want to look at like certain like aspects. Last time we worked with the whole Holding East Yorkshire Children's University, and they were great with us. There was still a relatively small charity. But now they're huge, and it's great to see. So, nominating the individual people, we want to be there for people. We want to get them introduced into pro wrestling and stuff like that. And when it comes to like charity work, we're working with Kingdom Wrestling at the minute, and working with Life for a Kid to get involved with the Pinderfield Hospital in Leeds, and Hull Royal Infirmary in our hometown in Hull. So the more we can get involved with these guys, the better, and the more exposure we'll have to invite wrestlers along to promotional events and these experiences. So please do nominate. And the final rule, which is very important to me, which is number 6, I believe it is. If you want to reverse back down, I apologise, and we can go back and forth.
No, you're okay. There you go.
Yeah. If you are unable to donate toys due to financial constraints, or you don't have the opportunity to be able to do it, do not feel obligated. Do not feel obligated to get involved. We accept donations of your time just by supporting us, and that, like I said before, is worth its weight in gold. So, if you want to follow us, if you want to share our stuff, if you want to meet up with us at events, just to get out the exposure is massive for us. And we've already had people identifying us from the blue hoodies, which is, unbelievably cool for us. So, I'm sure when AEW comes to All In at Wembley, to Wembley for All In, should I say, people are going to recognise us. We've got meetups already, which is fantastic. People from guys from Sweden are coming over and said, "We'll meet up," and it's like, we're not meaning to be worldwide or on multiple continents, but it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to get involved. Yeah. I've just said multiple continents when we're both in Europe, so I meant countries. I'm tired.
I was going to say we're getting tired, aren't we? We have been going on for almost an hour and a half.
Man, but I will finish on the final 2 slogans that we have. We're saying taglines. Final 2 taglines that we have. Just, if you see us in public, look out for the blue hoodies. You'll find us at All In. It's going to be 25 degrees. We have downgraded to t-shirts, so look out for the blue tees. Find us on there, and all you've got to do to get involved, you've just got to reach out. Just reach out for that hot tag, and we'll be there to help.
So with that, I was about to say we're going to end on some positivity from someone that has done a little video for us. So I would like again to thank you, Dan, for joining. Again, if you don't want to do anything further down the line, you are more than welcome to give me a message at any time.
Mm.
Have a good weekend at All In, and we shall see everyone soon.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you very
See
much.
you later. Bye-bye.
This is Big E from the new day. Give me that whole yeah. Give it to me. I need it.